What is up, everybody? Renfail here, and it's time for my early thoughts around Monster Hunter Wilds with my steampunk Sand Queen Mad Maxine of the Desert build with that amazing pink codpiece. So, if you've never watched any of my reviews before, I do 3 reviews for every game I play. The first is the early thoughts video, which happens right after the first stream. We just wrapped up a 6-hour stream of this game. We then do an initial review around 20 hours into any game that we play, and then we do a final review once I've finished the game. This is the first of those 3 comprehensive reviews that I do for every single game. So, without further ado, let's talk Monster Hunter Wilds. So I have never played a Monster Hunter game before. This is my very first entry into the series. I don't normally play Monster Hunter big boss style games. I think the last time I did something like this was Dragon's Dogma 2, which was meh for me. I heard that this was a very forgiving game to play and that it was not hardcore like the previous entries, so I thought it would be a good entry point for me into the series. And I saw a bunch of people talking about it and said, you know what, I'll give it a shot. We're wrapping up Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 right now. We're in our second playthrough of Avowed. We've got a little bit of a gap in our schedule into early March. Let's try something out of my wheelhouse and see what I think. So I would say that first and foremost, understand that everything I say from this point forward is largely going to be because I do not have familiarity with this franchise. So there's a lot of things here that I found very confusing. It doesn't mean they are bad. It just means that I found them to be really, really weird, or confusing, or in some way, shape, or form I didn't understand them. So, with that being said, let's just talk the review. So, I'm having fun, but there are a lot of things that just make me scratch my head and go, I'm like, what? Huh? So first and foremost, this is a monster hunting game, so the bulk of the gameplay is focused on action combat, hack and slash. There's no target lock system, but yet it has like the sort of like what I remember from Dragon's Dogma 2, where you can like attack different parts of the body and like cut them off, like you can cut off tails and things of that nature, but it's really hard to like focus on those body parts because there's no target lock system. And then there's the wounds system, because you can like open up wounds from attacking a specific place, which I find very difficult. I'm playing on the PS5. I find it very difficult to like focus attack, and it's just it's some of this is probably just a learning curve with the controllers, because I've been playing so much about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. My muscle memory is not set up for this game, but I have slowly been getting better at combat, and I do find it, it's enjoyable to like, hack and slash stuff. I'm using a dagger build, although it's axes now because I've upgraded. But I do find it very interesting the way you can use these weapons. You can switch to like ranged weapons. You've got like the grapple hook on your forearm, which is kind of cool because like you run around the landscape and harvest things on the fly. One thing I absolutely love about this game is when you mount your, I don't even remember the secret, whatever it's called, this critter. Like, I love the fact that this thing, if you have a waypoint tracked, it automatically runs around, and you just can like harvest on the fly. I love the fact that it auto moves you from one location to another, and you're just riding, and you can manipulate it if you want to, and sort of have it move around, and you can go over here and go over there to some degree. But I love the fact that I can be hands-free, which helps with my thumb fatigue a bunch, because I'm not constantly having to press the movement buttons, because he's doing what he's just going from point A to point B. That part's pretty cool. It's not quite open world, because there are times when you'll be like on a quest and the NPCs will start to bark at you if you're getting too off course, and then sometimes it'll just flat out turn your character around. It's like, no, you're not allowed to go anywhere. You're not allowed to go off in that direction. You need to come back here and follow the quests. So yeah, that part of it feels a little on the rails. It's not a bad thing. It's just the way this game is. The writing, obviously this is not a game that is built around the strength of its story, and I feel the writing is it is what it is. It's not its strong suit. Yeah, the writing is definitely not this game's primary focus, and the voiceovers are okay, but they're also extremely what I would call woo waifu, like weeb style, like Final Fantasy style. So if you like that kind of stuff, you're gonna love it. If you're someone like me who's not a huge fan of that, like I much prefer like the Western style fantasy. This is one of those games where I make the same comments when I play Final Fantasy games. Like it is what it is. So that's there. I had to turn off, and I'm so glad they gave the option. Your cat companions, you could just have them meow instead of talking, because oh my god, the voiceovers for those were so obviously. I couldn't help myself. Like every 90 seconds, I was screaming ooh ooh at the screen, because it was really. It's just that style. So I'm glad they give us the option to just have the cat people just meow, which is great. So that part of the game, my least favorite thing. The customization is pretty awesome here. That's one thing I will say this game has a huge strong point going for it, is like the amount of am I at a camp where I can look at things, or do I need to go back to the other camp? We might need to go back to the other camp, I think, to be able to look at. Or was that other camp? I don't even remember now. Back over here. How do I don't know I don't even know how to fast travel, to be honest with you. I know we have a camp set up over here. Oh, there we go, fast travel. Let's go over here, because one of the things I do absolutely love about this game is the amount of customization you can do to your armor and weapons. And it's got a pretty unique like upgrade system where you
I've got some suggestions if you're open to them.
have your different armor sets and weapon sets, and you have to kill different monsters to like make all the stuff, especially like in regards to the armor. So there's like all the normal stuff you can make, then you go down here and like here's the Lalabarina set, which requires certain pieces from the Lalabarina monster, and you can make different pieces, or the Conga set, or the Balahara set, or the Dasaguma set. So when you kill different bosses, oh wow, that's the most recent that I just did, like, and you can like hang on, this is just like the armor sets are just ridiculously flamboyant. Oh, here's the even better COD piece. Oh my god, look at that. This is the fiery Scottish Queen of the Desert look. Oh my god. That's amazing. Look at that three-tiered braided COD piece. That is glorious in all ways, shapes, and forms. So the customization here for your weapons and your armor is spot on, and I could see where the major appeal for a lot of people who like these types of games is going to be going out there and collecting all of the bits and pieces you need from all of the monsters to make all of the sets of gear that you want to fully customize your character and get all the stats and stuff, as well as all the armor sets that you can make. And there's tons. I think it said at the beginning of the game there's like 14 different armor or 14 different weapon types that you can use. I went with dual daggers, which have turned into axes at this point, just because it suited what I wanted to play for right now. But you can try anything. So there's a lot of customization here, and I think that's where a lot of people are going to spend the bulk of their time if you want to be a monster hunter and you go out there and hunt everything. Now, I'm only here for the story. I'm not, like I said, this is my very first entry into this series. And I'm not necessarily here to go, slay monsters for hours and hours on end. I went and looked at a bunch of reviews, and I've heard that the main story is only 15 to 25 hours long. So I'm only anticipating that I'm going to get probably around 20 hours of gameplay out of this, which for a $70 price tag might sound like a lot, but as long as you're having fun, who cares how much it costs, right? As long as, it doesn't really matter how long it is, as long as the entertainment value is there. I would say my initial early thoughts reaction to this is that I would give it a, I would say it's like a 7 out of 10, like 6.5, 7 out of 10 for me right now. I love the customization. I love auto riding my mount around. It's really cool to be able to like pull harvestables in with your grapple hook. I really don't like the writing. The voiceovers are not that good, and they're also like sporadic. Like in the early hours of the game, everything was voiced, and then I got like an hour and a half, 2 hours into the game, and suddenly only about a third of all the dialogue was voiced. It was like suddenly they ran out of budget and nothing was voiced in it. Like my main character doesn't have dialogue anymore. He just text emotes into the void. The Smith and other characters don't have any voiceovers anymore, other than like their generic, um, like repeating dialogue that they do. And that felt really weird to me because it was like the early hour and a half, 2 hours of the game is 100% voiced, and it's really, really well done. And then suddenly, quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. Nothing, and that felt really off to me. So in the combat, to me, I just wish there was a better way to do like a target locking. Be like, let's focus on the leg and just like target lock on the leg, and just like but instead it's like I'm either like the right thumbstick does like a focus, but it doesn't like lock on. It only focuses for a couple seconds, and then the creature moves and it's off. And then if you use like the left trigger to like focus fire, if you're using ranged, it works okay, but if you're trying to do melee and you're focusing with your melee, and then the biggest offender to me, the biggest thing that takes this down to me is this system right here. The radial system drives me absolutely up the wall because you're constantly wanting to switch things in the middle of combat, right? And so there's two things that happen. One, you bring up the radial menu and you're expected to switch with the square button or the circle button between all of the different potions and mushrooms and all these things, and there's like no explanation of what any of these things are. You're expected to go into your inventory and like figure this out. And then I'm constantly misclicking trying to get to, and the first one was like, let's say I need to use a potion and I'm dying in combat and I'm trying to run away from the mob at the same time as I'm holding down a radial menu and trying to hit the square button to get over to my potions while I'm looking down on the right trying to make sure that I'm on my potions while the mob is coming at me, and it's like really confusing and I'm getting hit a lot, and then I accidentally hit like the right thumbstick and suddenly I'm up in the radial menu and suddenly I'm bending down to like sharpen my blades in the middle of a combat sequence. That part is really, really annoying. And then I feel like because I'm a new person to this, one of the biggest things for me is like there's no explanation of like anything. I've relied heavily upon the chat during my first stream to help me understand a lot of the things that you're supposed to know, like how the upgrade system works. And there are some tutorials, but they're not very good. In fact, at one point the game literally told me, it gave me an introduction to a system, and then it told me, it literally said, go to the main menu and look for like I forget what it was called. There's like a tutorial system that's not part of the game. It's like they wanted me to go to like the main menu and like find the like how to play. I don't even know where it's at, to be honest with you. And people in chat were like, yeah, you're supposed to go to this thing and watch these like video segments, and I'm like, no. Like if you have any sort of tutorials for your game, they need to be in-game playable tutorials so that I'm learning through the process of doing the things in a tutorial as part of the gameplay. Don't send me out to your main menu to have me watch videos that aren't a part of the actual gameplay session, because that's not good at all. So like I said, 6.5, 7 out of 10. There are some things I enjoy, but there's a lot of things that I just am shaking my head at and I'm very confused with, and trying to learn the controls, especially like switching to potions and stuff, is very, very confusing. I don't know how much better I'll get at that because this is not a huge game where I'm going to be spending 60 hours playing. But, it's an interesting thing for me to do. It's out of my wheelhouse, so obviously there's a learning curve. Do with this as you will. Love to hear your thoughts on the game. Let me know in the comments below, and of course tune in because we'll be streaming this over the next few days. Daily streams on YouTube and Twitch at around 6 a.m. Central Time every single morning, and then again in the afternoons we do a second stream and we're playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, a second playthrough through Avowed, plus this and some other stuff. So I'll see everybody in the next one. Until then, stay safe and happy gaming.